Today I'm reporting on a local news story here in Flatwoods, West Virginia. It's called the Free Braxxie Movement. Now, Flatwoods is a small community located here in central West Virginia. And on the evening of September 12th of 1952, an event occurred which changed its course in history forever. A group of local boys were playing at the Flatwoods Elementary School when their attention suddenly focused to the southwest sky. From games, their attention focused on a bright ball of light heading across the sky. That is, until it suddenly went into a descent pattern, according to the witnesses, where it landed on the nearby G. Bailey Fisher farm. And yes, young boys and adventures seemed to go together, so they headed off in the direction of the farm, but first they would stop off at the home of Fred and Ed May to tell their mother where they were going. Enter now the story's hero, Kathleen May. Fresh home from work, she hears the boys and decides to head off with them, but not before contacting family member Eugene Lemon, who happened to be a member of the West Virginia National Guard. And also accompanied by the fearless family dog, Richie, the group headed off to the UFO's perceived landing spot over at the old Fisher farm. And after a brief yet eventful trip, our group arrived at the spot where they believed the UFO had landed, on the hill right behind me. And marking the event is an establishment, a local establishment known as The Spot, which is right behind me. Sadly, I'm here on a Saturday and it doesn't open, I believe, until 11 o'clock, so I may have to come back later and take you guys inside, but it is, I believe, on the hill behind me where the UFO landed. Now, for purposes of jargon, I use UFO and not unidentified aerial or unidentified anomalous phenomenon. I use UFO because I grew up with unidentified flying objects. And now that we know there are also unidentified floating objects, which by their own inertia and guidance systems can float successfully underwater, I'm sticking with the old UFO. So thanks, and thank you for your support. And then shortly after arriving on the hill at their destination, they became a group of the few and the proud to meet the subject of today's news story. Right behind me is Braxxie. And yes, the subject of today's news story has indeed gone by many names. The Braxton County Monster, the Flatwoods Monster, the Green Monster, the Green-Eyed Monster. But locals today affectionately call him Braxxie, and it's time to set him free. However, for purposes of today's story, I will refer to him by another name, the Flatwoods Phantom. But why, pray tell, would you call him the Flatwoods Phantom? Well, I believe in phantom-like fashion, he appeared for a little while and then he went away. But his memory, his history will always be etched into the minds of those who live here and those who saw him. And now, according to Kathleen May, her boys, Ed and Fred, Eugene Lemon, and the others, this phantom-like creature was roughly about 10 feet tall, with a metallic green skirt. We will call them his legs, although they say he didn't have legs. And for that purpose, he is said to have just simply glided through the air. He is described as both having arms and then not having arms, and then having a spade-shaped head, with the head within the shape of the spade, with glowing eyes that didn't glow from the eyes, but they glowed from within. They didn't radiate. He was lit up inside and it came out through his eyes. The phantom is also said to have been accompanied by an eerie mist, which is sometimes described as yellow or green. And as it moved along, it's also said to have made a hissing sound. And also, besides the green mist, the phantom is said to have had a rather pungent sulfuric or toxic metal smell that went with him that left some of them sick for the days and weeks to come. And it is said to have been near dark on that September 1952 evening when the boys arrived, but no doubt that Braxxie left a glowing impression on all of them. And it is also said that the dog Richie took one look at Braxxie, then he turned about face and he hightailed it back home. However, contrary and good to popular belief, he did not die shortly thereafter, but he went on to live a long and productive dog life, suffering no long-term ill effects from the meeting. 1952 was also a big year for science fiction movies. The Thing, starring James Arness, but not as Matt Dillon, came out, and also The Day the Earth Stood Still made their appearance in 1952. And that's just part of the backdrop for our September 1952 sighting of Braxxie, the Flatwoods Phantom. The year 1952 was also active for UFO sightings. According to Project Blue Book, there were over 1,500 of them. And to this day, 330, I believe, still defy explanation. Some believe a lot of that is due to the sightings being part of a government cover-up. Perhaps they don't want the truth coming out, but indeed the truth is out there, but sometimes others just make it more difficult to find. And perhaps Kathleen May experienced this firsthand. A day or so after the September 12th incident, a pair of men showed up at her home, stating that they were news people, perhaps from Clarksburg. Well, she showed them around and I guess told them a few things, and then later nothing ever came out of it. Some reports claim that they were actually part of the infamous Men in Black, and that later they may have contacted her and told her not to discuss the matter. This is based on speculation and belief, but I thought I would put it out there anyway. Yet despite their best efforts to suppress the truth about Braxxie, the truth is still out there if you're willing to go look. So folks, if you're looking for the truth about Braxxie, I would highly recommend making one of your stops here at the Flatwoods Monster Museum. They have lots of memorabilia, they have pictures, they have photos, stuff in there to do if you're looking for the truth about Braxxie. But now, my friends, it's time to move on to our next site. And yes, I'm right back where I started this morning. I can't believe it's been 4 hours. Right over there across the way is the Braxxie chair, the first one I came to. And right behind me is the spot where that mysterious ball of light back in September of 1952 set down and began the journey to find Braxxie. And today we're on a quest to set Braxxie free, and I have visited 3 of the 5 Braxxie chairs. I've been over to the Flatwoods Monster Museum. There's a lot of things there to see. And now I'm going to finish my day behind me at the spot. The spot is a local eatery, and I'm going inside and have something appropriate to eat to finish my day. So, signing off from here in Flatwoods, West Virginia, home of Braxxie, the Flatwoods Phantom. Until next time, happy travels, everyone, until we meet again.